It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Big loss for Tennessee basketball. News today that the Vols forward Olivier Cumwa will have surgery on his ankle after an injury suffered in the win at South Carolina on Saturday and will likely miss the remainder of the season. The Vols improved to number 19 in the AP poll after sweeping Texas A&M and South Carolina on the week. Freshman Zakai Ziegler was named the SEC Freshman of the Week, but the Vols will have to move forward without one of their key post players. As for the Lady Vols, after getting routed on the road by UConn and falling to Florida earlier in the week, Tennessee fell from number 7 to number 13 in the country in the women's basketball AP poll. It is Super Bowl week. 104.5 The Zone is going on the road to Radio Row in L.A. thanks to Ferguson HVAC, Two Rivers Ford, and a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Tune in every day as the Buck Rising Show and 3HL will broadcast from L.A. starting on Wednesday. Last few open head coaching jobs in the NFL are filling up. The Dolphins have hired San Francisco offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel, and the Houston Texans reportedly are in talks with Lovie Smith to become the next head coach. He spent the 2021 season as the Texans' associate head coach and defensive coordinator under David Culley. That would leave one more opening across the league, the New Orleans Saints, who have yet to replace Sean Payton. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We just solved a mystery that's, 20 years old right here, just now. We just solved a Titans mystery. As Lucas was like, your microphones are on. Your microphones are on. Hey, your microphones are on. You're hot. Your mics are hot. We were solving a mystery, like Scooby-Doo, Lucas. So Blaine has back problems. Somebody tweeted him a picture, video even, of him clearing out some Redskins offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
On a touchdown return on an interception by Samori Roll. I remember that game against the Redskins.
Monday night.
Oh, that was a big one.
Yeah, because Bruce Smith was on the Redskins at that time. Yep. And Deion Sanders. And that interception was on Deion Sanders. He was playing wide receiver, by the way. And that's why Samori Roll wears 21.
So somebody said, hey, Blaine, look at you make this block. And Blaine just completely drives through a 300-pound guy. Like a bulldozer. And it's at the end of the play. So you've been running for how – that was a long return by Samori.
It was.
It was right before halftime, right?
Yeah. I think it was. I think either in a post route or a dig route. I think it was a post route because I was on the other side. And so naturally when I got close – close to him, I said, man, cut back, because he had ran the other way. And people don't understand, most of you guys have offensive skill sets, and Samari almost was going to be a wide receiver on our team. Actually, they tried to do that when he first got there. Then he got injured with his neck.
Only the best cornerback in history.
Yeah, so then they said, all right, we're not going to do that. You're just going to play one side of the ball. And so he ran one side. Naturally, I knew he was going to cut back, thinking, if he sees what I see and feel, you're coming back this way. And we had a lot of guys over there. But, I blocked I forgot who that guy's name was, but I had no idea. Someone randomly tweeted that out. It was great to see that. But I think I herniate my disc in my low back, my L4 and 5, I think, on that play. That's when I start wearing a back plaster every game and stretching with my man Takahashi, who stretched me every single day of my career as a Titan, every single day. And then I was always first. And then he started stretching somebody else first, and we would laugh, and I'd give him a hug because then I'd be second because he went to Michigan State. Guess who that was? Who went to Michigan State to play for the Titans? It was pretty good. Like, real good. He was in that picture, too, by the way.
Oh, Derek Mason.
Yeah. He started stretching. I said, so alumni gets me 4 Ball State. Come on, man. What's up with that? He go, you know how that Takahashi laugh, man. He's a legend, man.
He was working the Pro Bowl yesterday. They tweeted out a picture of him.
A lot of love for Taki on social media.
We're talking about the GOAT. He is, man.
Oh, there were Titan alums from all eras of the Titans who were like, Talk is the best. Oh, my gosh. I mean, you talk about a guy who makes an impression on people. Part of the Titans training staff, never not smiling, always happy. How you doing? Can I get you something? I mean, one day I'm out there and I'm just particularly sweating and overheated. He's like, let me get you something to drink. You look too hot. Like, that's talk.
Yeah, man, he's the greatest guy. Probably the nicest guy I know, man. Outside of you there, mixed.
He's waiting. I'm a complete butthole
Yeah,
compared
because
to
I've
Takahashi.
never
He's
seen
the nicest person
H-Town
Takahashi. No.
I would love to see H-Town Takahashi because I just don't see it in him. I just don't. He's just like, they say you would smile at your biggest enemy. I think he would do that.
He would get
he
would tape his worst enemy's ankle and then get him a Gatorade,
Yep.
chilled Gatorade. That was October 30th, 2000, Monday night, as you said. You guys won 27-21 over the Redskins. That was the last play of the first half, 81 yards. And
I sent that to Samari too, by the way.
I'm sure he enjoyed that.
I mean, doorknob.
Doorknob.
That's how I have him in my contacts, doorknob, because he was so skinny. But
Eddie George.
Yeah, how did Eddie do that day?
He was 22 for 71. Steve ran 3 for 16. Steve was 14 for 18 for 96 yards in that game. He threw 14 of 18 completions for 96 yards.
Yeah, that was, we had a pretty good defense.
Frank caught 5 of them for 42.
What was the receiver numbers? I don't.
Frank was 5 for 28,
except on third down.
Eddie was 5 for 42. Rodney Thomas caught a pass for 2 yards.
The late great
Rodney Thomas.
Man.
Derek Mason 2 for 12. Chris Sanders was 1 for 12. Carl Pickens had 1 target, did not catch a pass. They had Brad Johnson. They had Stephen Davis.
Yeah. I forgot about Stephen Davis. Yeah, 48.
They had Larry Sanders.
Oh yeah, Larry Sanders was. That was before he went to Arizona.
He caught 6. He was a fullback who caught 100 passes one year. When he was a fullback who caught 100 passes, Larry Sanders.
Who had tailback skills.
Yes.
Play fullback, yeah. Larry
They
Sanders.
had Irving Fryer.
Yeah,
at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Andre Reed.
Yeah.
That was when they got all those.
I remember Andre Reed with the Redskins.
Andre Reed.
What did he do that game?
1 for 10 on 2 targets.
I did not. I forgot about that.
And like you said, Deion Sanders had a target. Champ Bailey had a target in that game. That's when they were letting everybody play offense.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Champ Bailey was, that was in his prime right there. He was, that was right out of Georgia pretty much. His top 3 years, I think. I think he made the Pro Bowl his rookie season. Because I remember traveling with him on the bus to practice. I was like, man, how old are you? He was like, hey, man, I'm only 21. I was like, man, you got a long list of times you're going to be up here. So that was the beginning of Hall of Fame ability and play right there. Mm.
If I'm not mistaken about that particular game,
that might have been the first season of that stadium, was it? Or maybe the second year?
Maybe.
That was a big deal because I think the reason why I say that, my wife never went to any away games ever, except that game. Yeah,
went to that game.
Yeah, she had friends and family that lived in the area, and she wanted to check out the stadium. So I'm just assuming that was the first. It might have been our first time being there. It didn't have to be the first year of it. I think the first year might have been 2000. I'm not sure though.
Well,
Mickey, I thought you was gonna have my back on this.
No, I don't. I'd have to look at the stadium info, but that stadium's a piece of junk now, and it's falling apart around.
Yep.
Yeah, they want a new one. Jalen Hurts walking off the field, and people fell at his feet. I would love to see what Eddie's numbers were in the second half of that game because I remember watching that game with a bunch of people and looking at them and saying, Eddie's about to get 15 carries in the second half because you guys were leading 20-7. You scored one more touchdown in the game to get to 27. But I just remember Eddie running, and people making business decisions at the end of the game. Like, I don't want any more of this.
Really?
Like, guys just getting out of the way.
Yeah. I'm glad you remember because all I remember is that interception in my block and Deion playing receiver. I think Davis, but we shut him down. How many yards did he have rushing? I don't remember him doing anything big. He might have had one little squirt there for about 20 or something. I don't remember.
He ran 21 for 62, so he averaged 3 yards a carry.
Yeah, I don't remember them doing too much of anything to us. And they scored 21 points?
They wound up.
Wait. Did they score 21 points on offense?
They scored Mike Sellers caught a 5-yard pass to open the scoring.
Mike Sellers. Yeah, he's the coach at IMG in Florida.
Stephen Davis ran for 1. Larry Centers caught a pass with 6 minutes to go to set the final score.
We must have turned the ball over in the red zone. I don't remember that. I don't remember very much, if anything, about that game. That means that I don't remember them doing too much of nothing on offense. And so they scored 21. Yeah, maybe they got the ball in good field position.
Here's the drive that ended the third quarter and opened the fourth quarter. Steve McNair passed complete to Frank Wycheck for 6 yards. Eddie George up the middle for 6. Eddie George up the middle for 9. Eddie George around the right end for 2 yards. Steve McNair passed to Eddie George for 4 yards. Eddie George runs for 4 yards. Timeout, Tennessee Titans. Eddie George right for 2 yards. Steve McNair to Eddie George for 13 yards. Eddie George up the middle for -1 yard. I'm not making this up. Eddie George for 7 yards. Steve McNair pass complete to Frank Wycheck, 18 yards, touchdown.
Well, at least
like I said, I remember Eddie George running it down their throat.
Yeah, he wore him down. Our offensive line did. I loved it when it worked, but when it didn't work, hey, man, throw the ball. Crap. All I was doing was trying to get extra rest, man. Get this third down conversion every time. So, well, if you hand it to him 3 times, that's only 9 yards.
And you got to get 9 1/3 on each of these runs to get yourself a first down.
So that's when my man Frankie would come into play.
But that's so funny. They opened the drive
receiver, man,
throwing to Frank for 6. They ended the drive throwing to Frank. Every play in between was Eddie George.
Yeah.
They knew what was coming, and they couldn't stop it.
Yeah, but they were no different than anybody else. But, I mean, we had a great offensive line, too, and Eddie, we all know, he is who he is, man. A mammoth of a guy to tackle.
Well, like I said, that may have been the first time I ever heard the phrase business decision. Where somebody called it, making it a business decision, like we're not going to win. I'm not going to lose a year off my life trying to tackle.
It's always interesting when I hear people say making business decisions, because I always thought, like, man, I could see other teams business. Doing it. Yeah. But I'm like, man, I don't think I ever played with guys who would do stuff like that on our team.
But that's why you played on a top 5 defense, though. Top 3, top 2, top defense in the league.
We have some dudes now. They still might have ran through us, but we wasn't making business decisions.
Well, the other thing, too, is, you've told me about telling the guys on the outside, look, you don't even have to tackle him. You just got to slow him down. Make him run back inside. I'll get him.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Doorknob, Samari Rowe running into Larry Centers or Davis, Stephen Davis, right? Yeah. I didn't want that, because guess what? I wanted him out there covering Deion Sanders.
Sure.
So, I was like, hey, man, just make him stir his feet. Try to shoelace his shoes. Maybe retie him. I'm coming. That's kind of how we would play it. Everybody had a job and a title and relished what you had to do. And all you had to do was say, hey, you want to come out here and guard these receivers? I'd be like, well, not every down. Not every down. Not as much man-to-man we had. I mean, man. Woo.
People asking, did we just see Ron Slay in the studio? Yeah, he came in here earlier, got something out of the refrigerator.
Oh, did he? Yeah, he did.
He was like...
Yeah, he was trying to steal my candy out here, man. I got some Reese's and some M&M's, but... one of them's not mine.
I was with Slay when we saw that video of you pushing that man down the field courtside before we did the basketball game. So we were watching that together. Like, look at Blaine push this guy around.
Yeah, man, that was L4, L5. I think that's where it happened. Yeah, but still today I have to go to the chiropractor once a week to make sure I keep it in line. That's right above your tailbone. It'll just slide to the left. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just get on out of there.
How do they go about adjusting something like that down close to your rear end?
Oh, they're not nowhere near there. They have you, straddled with your, one leg up, twist your, just like, turn and twist like this.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
we got TV here. People are seeing this.
Turn and twist you down and
okay.
Pop, and you be like, oh, man.
Does it feel good or bad when they do it?
Oh, yeah, it feels good. You don't feel really too much of anything.
Not like when you go get your neck adjusted and it feels like they're trying to remove your head from your body.
Watch this. I'm going to act like I'm a perfect, I understand chiropractor. But, go the other way. But before we do that, he knows it's out of line. I just lay flat on my stomach on the table and lift my leg up, face down, and I can't lift one leg up higher than the other. I can't get it up as high as it's supposed to go.
Oh,
So
that's
that lets
what-
them know it's skinny short change, so it's out of whack.
Okay. So that's the test.
Yeah,
Like
that's
raise
one
your
of
right,
the, that's
raise your
one
left.
of the tests. That's the only one I'm really paying attention to.
Okay.
Because I'd be like, dang, I can't lift up my leg like as high as the other one. Man, this is horrible.
October 30th, 2000. That's when the back went bad all the way to the
They had the
tailbone.
back plaster ever since then. Back plaster.
All right, we're going to replaster Blaine's back when we come back. Ding Dong of the Week. It's Monday. We do Ding Dong of the Week. You got a Ding Dong you want to share with us from over the past week, sports or non-sports related. Actually, I have a non-sports Ding Dong and a couple of sports Ding Dongs. And Lucas and Blaine will have theirs. We'd love to hear from you on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045. It's Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ring, ding, dong. Ring a ding, 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 dong. It's time for Ding Dong of the Week.
Oh, man.
We like to say, don't be a ding dong, use Mark Spain. But here's what they tell us to say. Go to markspain.com and get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. That's what you got to do. Eric is always first up on the Ding Dong of the Week segment. You can hit us. Well, Lonzo's already got one in here. I'll get to Lonzo in just a second. Hit us in the Zone TV chat on Twitter, at Blaine and Mickey, or right here on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045. Eric, share some information about your ding dong with us.
I heard you say earlier that you had two sports and one non-sports. I actually have one sport and one non-sport, so I'm wondering if some of it may be covering the same territory. But first, here's my sports one. It happened over the weekend. It was at the UCLA-Arizona State game, the game that went into triple overtime.
Yeah.
I saw the highlights from ESPN. Apparently, when UCLA was trying that last shot, somebody from the crowd threw something, and it hit the UCLA player on the knee or on the leg, something like that. Referees didn't see it. What was it called, and the game ended? That should have been a technical foul, and I also believe should have been 3 shots or whatever it was, not called. That's just disgusting that something like that happened. And I hope they find out who that fan was and that he's never allowed in games again. My second ding dong, apparently this is about a week old. It has to go to the idiot in, I guess it was Pennsylvania at the Golden Corral that started the brawl because of the fact that there was no, ran out of steak. Here's the story from what I hear allegedly that happened because they showed a video of what happened. Apparently this guy, I guess, ordered like a steak to be cooked. I think it was rare or medium rare. And apparently some guy allegedly cut in front of it and took what he felt like was his steak and started a brawl. They showed a video of it, and it was like chairs being thrown, high chairs being thrown. Some guy or whatever grabbed a table and tried to hit somebody with a table or throw it, but he was stopped by an employee. 40 people were involved, and they called the police. There were people scattering and scurrying. I guess, you got to have something called buffet etiquette. And, I remember a story that happened in Nashville 2 years ago that I'd heard about. But apparently some guy, this was at a Shoney's, that this server brought out a huge pan of bacon, and this guy was shoving as much bacon as he could into a to-go box. And the lady was trying to tell him, it says, "Sir, you can't do that. This does not mean all you can eat." And he says, "I pay $8.99 for it. If it's all you can eat, I'm taking as much as I can." And basically he took about enough to feed his family for more than a week. And he was like permanently banned because he was doing that. And I guess a lot of restaurants now have stopped doing that because of the fact of people not using buffet etiquette, because they feel like when they mean all you can eat, they're trying to take as much food as they can, trying to hoard as much food as you can. It's just pretty bad, guys. Y'all take care.
Yeah, Eric coming up with the new phrase buffet etiquette here on Blaine and Mickey.
Buffet etiquette,
yeah. Be a ding dong at Shoney's.
Yeah.
Are there Shoney's buffets still around Middle Tennessee?
No, I don't think so. I think they closed.
There used to be one right behind us over here, Shoney's, and it's been long gone.
There used to be one off Old Hickory up on the hill there. Off the exit.
Yep. It used to be one on Franklin Road, right when you took the Franklin exit. But
they got rid of Golden Corral too, out there in Franklin.
You ever get into a fight over steak? That was actually my non-sports ding dong. Over 40 people.
I did not hear that story.
In a restaurant in Pennsylvania, a Golden Corral restaurant, fighting because, like Eric said, someone cut the line and they ran out of steak.
Yeah, people. Their patience have gotten to to a level that we have never expected here. So that's unfortunate, though, man. That was it. Oh wow, that was a great ding dong there. Yeah, I remember the UCLA when I watched that. I saw that live, so that was interesting to see the fan. I think it looked like a spongy like thing, like you shower with or something. It would look like something like that. I couldn't actually see what it was, but it was maroon, so it was the color of Arizona State. So you could barely see it when it happened live, and then they replayed that thing, and he was like, "Oh man, it hit him on the thigh." It really, I don't think it affected anything, but still, it did happen on the guy who shot it.
It's supposed to be a technical. Something goes on the court, you know.
They did not call it. They missed it.
Bruce says there's one at Donaldson Pike and one at the Lebanon exit. So there you go. You still go get your $8.99 bacon fix. Shoney's by the airport has it. Says Tado 8 Ball.
Oh my! Why did you give that guy?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I'm more of a Golden Corral guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
No fights over the steak there.
Yeah.
Plenty of steak there.
I don't want to get on any shoving the matches and everything. You never know where it could go. I don't know. We may shall see how this Alvin Kamara stuff may go. I don't know all the details, but I'm sure some shoving and stuff was going on there.
Yeah, he was arrested after the Pro Bowl and was in jail last night. Actually, his hearing is set for, I think, 1:30 Las Vegas time today. So we should know more around 2:30 then, depending on what they say about it. He was arrested and jailed. Person had reported a battery at a nightclub. The police said detectives determined the victim was battered by Alvin Kamara. So
I was trying to find out details like, that just sounds so out of character for Alvin Kamara. So you wonder if the guy hit him first or did something to him first. I'm just trying to speculate. I have no idea. So you say, okay, does that constitute him? If he hit him,
right,
then just beat him in the smithereens? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you just got to just run out. Just run out. Run outside, huh? Something, I don't know, man. I hope that's the case, that somebody hit him first, because, man, he got a lot to lose. I was looking at his contract. They can get out of $15 million roster bonus that they're supposed to give him here pretty soon here, as well as right before the season. I'm like, ugh, or some big number like that. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes, man, you just got to, like you said, just run out. And this happened, and we'll know more later today because he's got a hearing. So this is all, this is what's been alleged and what he was arrested for and all this stuff. So, we'll comment on it. We have all the
I don't know.
all the stats and all the information on it. But sometimes, man, like we were talking about, Taylor Lewan had been getting into it on the field, and you actually said,
it's up to his teammates.
His teammates need to just go get him. If he's going to fight with other teams to get a 15-yard penalty
after the play,
then just go get him if you know that's who he is. And you said, if you're him and stuff starts happening, just get away from it. And you remember.
He did.
Started
running away from
like the next week a fight happened, he went 30 yards down the field and sat down on the middle of the field logo. Get out of it.
Because his intentions were all good, though. That's what I felt like.
He stands up for his teammates.
Right. It was borderline right after the play, he hit somebody. And, we had somebody like that during our era, and that was Runyon. He was like that. Yeah, and so I was like, hey, man, we got to figure out what we're going to do. I love the tenacity, but, man, they're getting 15-yard penalties. Y'all got to go get them, And so I'm going to talk to Bruce and B-Hop and all the big guys, because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be out there get this big guy. What are y'all talking about? He's like 6'8". They're like, yeah, we're gonna have a sit-down with him, and we're just going to pull him away from it and always just watch him, because he, it was great when it, was before, right on the whistle, but then after the whistle, it was costing us, first down. So that's kind of what you do. And then it kind of settles down and it goes away. And, you got to play to the whistle. Mawai was like that too. Yeah, you can see it on film. You see it.
He played to the echo of the whistle.
Yeah, echo.
Yeah.
You listen what you said, echo. That means the whistle was blown, but it was still.
There's just some molecules still in the air from the whistle.
Yeah, I love those guys when they're on your side. Trust me, I've been at the end of some of those. Somebody big 300-some pound guy flying in the air, you get around the pile. You better duck.
The amazing thing about Mawai, too, was how nasty he was. But he was only like 268 pounds or something is what he played at, if I remember. He was nowhere near 300 pounds.
Yeah. Well, for me, I don't look at people's size.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that when I first got in the league my rookie year. We picked up Chuck Cecil halfway through the season at the end of his career.
He weighed about 175 pounds, it looked like. Yeah.
Wet. And probably did 225 5 times.
Yeah.
And I said, dang, man. And I'm thinking, Chuck Cecil was on the cover when he was with Green Bay, or the cover of Sports Illustrated. I'm thinking, I'm sitting in the cold tub and I'm talking to him like, man, how did you do so well? And you don't even look like you work out. I just straight up asked him in the cold tub, or we was in a hot tub, one of the two. And he's like, man, playing ball is a mindset. And I'm like, you just scared me. I'm a rookie by you and me. I'm like 21, 2, So I'm like, what? He said, man, all that lifting, that means a lot for some. But hitting is a mindset.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how strong you are in the weight room. And that's when I learned immediately, because I bought in, they tell you all this crap in college. Oh, you got to lift all these weights, pump all this iron. He's hey, look, I've never been super strong in no weight room. His legs look like toothpick. He said, but I'm sure you saw a lot of my highlight reels, knocking people out, right? I said, yeah, absolutely, Chuck. He said, yeah, so you better make sure you get that mindset at that safety or, you might as well just call it bye-bye. I don't care how much you can bench in there. He said, yeah, I saw you in there bench pressing 315 5 times. I was like, man, who is this young dude? He has no clue. I said, yeah, that was me, right? He said, yeah. I was like, boy, you strong, but we're going to see what that looked like when you go out there and the darts start moving.
He was listed at 6 foot 185.
Yeah.
Playing safety in the NFL.
That was his last year in the league. It was my first year. So
Yep.
that's why I said I got some of that, that old school, we don't care. We busting people in the mouth. And that's really what I built my whole career on, really, learning from those guys. And every time mind you, I said he came halfway through the season because Marcus Robinson tore his patella tendon. And he was having a Pro Bowl, all-pro type season. He had 6 picks in, 8 weeks. It was crazy. Like, dang. Yeah. So, got to learn how to tame them.
Let's hear about your ding-dongs.
Well, mine
you can't
is the
tame
obvious.
them.
Yeah, you can't tame the ding-dongs.
No, you cannot.
Mine is the obvious, is the Pro Bowl. And I'm really trying to figure out, and I know it's changed a lot from my day, so I don't want to feel like, no. Well, first of all, let's own it then, what it actually is. So, to me, they should go out there with maybe just their helmets to make sure some guys don't get hurt and just have on their jerseys, the Pro Bowl jerseys, and do flag football or something like that. And then have the linemen doing some lineman challenge maybe at the other end of the field or a different location. Maybe like bench pressing, see who's the strongest. Maybe do one-on-ones. Y'all don't want to make it too competitive because I don't want anybody to get hurt. But most of the time, those big guys, when you're in a short window there, it's hard. You got speed rushers maybe. I just want to make it a little more. I tried really hard to make it appealing to watch on TV, and it just I couldn't make it past the first quarter. I mean, when the first play happened, I go, what are they doing? I do it every time. Like I don't know it's about to happen.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's just me in the era I played in, but I say that's not football. Even that's why I say if we just say, okay, let's just do 7-on-7, we know it's 7-on-7. Or
Sure.
mind you, you got to incentivize a little bit more. I know now the pay, I looked up at the pay, is $80,000 for the winner. When I was playing, it was $35,000 for the winner, $25,000 for the loser. Loser gets no money, but it goes to some charity that you all agree upon, whatever that amount may be.
Okay.
But you guys get no money in your pocket. Yeah.
Ooh.
So guess what that would do? That thing would ratchet up real quick. Trust me, 80 grand is 80 grand. I don't care if you making 14 million. May not mean that much to my homies, but it mean a lot to some of them other guys
Yeah.
who took like a gob of people over there.
I'm sure.
So, just got to trick it up a little bit. Maybe do a 40 contest. I know they do that on the skills. I actually thought the skills the day before was really entertaining. I bet you they're going to put some restrictions on that. Diggs that plays Buffalo, the wide receiver, Stephon, jumped off of a truck and did the Buffalo Bills mania, breaking the table and put his brother's jersey on there.
That scared me to death.
Yeah, they're going to put restrictions on there because teams are going, what the heck are you doing?
Right. We need you, and you just jumped through a table.
Yeah, even though I felt like there was it was some danger into that one. So, yeah, they're going to put – so you got to do something fun at the same time that's entertaining that people want to watch. Now, everybody going to say, well, they're all watching. And I know everybody is watching. It's just because it's the NFL. But how can they make the product look better? Because now they're getting lazy because they know everybody's going to watch. So at some point, it's just like winning. At some point, you're going to have to start doing work because you're going to lose some of those fans.
Sure.
So I'm probably not going to watch it until they change it up a little bit. And maybe just put flags on it and make it better for me. I don't know what you're going to do with the linemen and D linemen, but they got to do something. Make them run a 40 too. That's entertaining. Everybody always thinks they can beat these guys that weigh 325 pounds. They got this gut and all this mass because they need it. These guys can hump now. These guys can roll. Right now, I couldn't beat any of them in no 40. If they running 4.8 to 5, no.
Oh, the average person thinks they could go out there and run like 4.8.
Mm-mm.
Not realizing
not
they'd
true.
run like 6.8 or 7.
Yeah, probably more like close to like 6. Yeah, I remember we did a little contest there at at D1 out there at Cool Springs. Anybody would have come out for charity to race to see what they could run. There's only a couple people. They were former track people.
Okay.
They ran track in college.
Oh, sure.
That ran under 5.
Right.
The rest of them, nope.
But the average person.
5'8".
Sure.
They were like, what?
The average person watches the combine and they see some slow quarterback or a 300-pound defensive lineman and they think, oh, I'm faster than that dude. Here's the thing. You're not. You're not faster than Tom Brady.
Yeah,
You're not,
right. And he's one of the slower guys.
Right. You're not faster than Ben Roethlisberger, or maybe him at this point because he can barely move. But you're not faster than those guys. You think you are, but you're not.
Yeah, Lucas is, though. What do you think you're running for, Lucas?
In your soccer
man.
days in high school.
I'd be
Or your
lucky-
best day.
When I was in high school,
Yeah.
I'd still barely get below 5. I wasn't very fast.
Yeah, I used to love when all these high school, coaches try to time their kids. Oh, he ran a 4.4. Nobody's running a 4.4 in high school.
Nope.
No. Very rare.
With
Not
just the
ever.
stopwatch timer.
Right, you get them all pumped up. I'm a 4.4. Yeah, really? Okay. Your coach is blowing smoke up. You know what?
That's one of those things you get faster to a certain extent as you get older.
Yeah.
I mean, my friend is a hurdler, Sharika Elvis, and she's trying to make the Olympics every 4 years.
That's an Olympian.
And she was All-American. First, she was the number 1 hurdler in college out of literally, of all places, Arkansas State. She said, I get beat by people who are like 35 years old. She said, their technique is so good and they're so fast. She said, you just have to pay your dues. She said, you're the fastest in your 30s. So she was waiting to age into her 30s. So
Which is fascinating.
that's just crazy. But the fastest
I
hurdlers.
wish I could say that. I was faster in my 30s. Nah,
I was
I
never
retired
fast.
at 33.
So, Lonzo says, my ding-dong of the week is also the Pro Bowl. He said, what a joke.
Yeah, you know what? We want people to tweet in because we're going to tweet this out. Any ideas to improve the Pro Bowl? Anything off the charts?
It's on Blaine and Mickey Twitter.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't have to, be something crazy, but within realm that you would like to see them do to keep it a little more entertaining. Maybe you keep it the way it is, and maybe you just do that for a half and do something else. But I'd love to hear some ideas because I can't watch that.
Steven has an idea that we'll share when we come back that really would turn up the stakes for everybody. Well, this is a reply to Blaine and Mickey. Yeah, the question on Blaine and Mickey, are there any changes that could be made to the Pro Bowl that would actually make you want to watch? As we were outlined, Steven's got an interesting idea. This may tick some of you off, and some of you may like it. Also, Tristan is on the line. Also, Lucas needs to share his ding-dong, and so will I. We'll do all that and more. You can share one, too. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
That's what
Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone, 615-737-1045. You can call us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, sharing Ding Dong of the Week suggestions. Lucas, you didn't get to cheer your Ding Dong. I know we got rabbit holed down a steak fight at a Pennsylvania Golden Corral, but what else have we got here?
Was it Golden Corral or Shoney's?
It was Golden Corral.
The fight happened at Golden
but
Corral.
Shoney's came up just because Eric brought up Shoney's, which, by the way, thank you to all of us who have tweeted, called, or put in the Zone TV chat where there still is a Shoney's. Thank you to the many people who have shared that.
Yeah, there's a Shoney's in Dixon where I used to work. I believe that's still there.
Oh,
I bet y'all hit that up sometimes. A radio station.
I
Get us a hot fudge cake.
I never went to it.
I would eat a hot fudge cake right
you
now.
Never been to the one in Dixon?
I frequented all the mom and pop meet and threes.
Oh,
like
those
all
are-
my money
Oh,
went to
okay.
that. Went to
Hey,
that
man,
stuff.
Okay.
there's a donut place in Dixon.
Dixon Donuts.
I don't know if God is in the donut business, but I think that that's proof that He is. I never had anything like that. How many of those did you eat that day when we were down there for
those
Fight
Dixon
DMD?
Donuts are off the
Every
charts.
time we go to Greystone Golf Club, right, out in Dixon.
Yeah, the only place that can rival that is a place I grew up in Indianapolis called Long's Bakery. It's only one. Yeah.
Not franchised. One.
Mm-mm,
Is it like one
Been
80-year-old
there for
lady who gets there at 3 o'clock
years.
every day and makes
Yes.
those donuts? Boy, God bless that lady
Mhm.
and all that she stands for.
Yeah, that's-
Hallelujah.
Yeah. That's the only
Okay,
rival.
sorry. You start talking about mom and pops and
And I
meat and
want
threes
donuts
at that
right now.
donut place.
I- we could
Speaking
have-
of donuts, man, okay, give us your Ding Dong donut.
Shout out to Stuffy's Frosty Jug, by the way, little mom and pop in Dixon, Tennessee.
Stuffy's frosted jug.
Stuffy's Frosty Jug.
Okay,
Great-
if we don't get T-shirt, did they have merch? Because I want a
Oh, yeah, I
T-shirt
think they
that
have
says
merch.
that.
I'll look
Okay.
into it.
All right.
My ding dong of the week are the Houston Texans, who seem to be finalizing a deal to make Lovie Smith their head coach. This was the tweet from Ian Rappaport a few hours ago.
What?
The Texans are moving and as I say that, I get a push notification from Adam Schefter that they are expected to hire Lovie Smith. But listen to how this is worded. At 10 a.m. this morning, Ian Rappaport, the Texans are moving towards naming Lovie Smith their head coach for 2022, sources tell us. Now, Greg Rosenthal quotes that and says, for 2022 feels like the not-so-quiet part. Explain to me the logic in firing one coach after 1 year where he matches the amount of wins that you had the year before you fired him with a far worse roster situation. You fire that guy just to promote his associate head coach, Lovie Smith, who isn't a spring chicken. He's an accomplished head coach, took the Bears to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. He's 63 years old, hasn't had a winning record in a very long time. Explain to me that logic unless for 2022 is the key word there in that tweet from Ian Rappaport, which I feel like you don't really see when franchises hire a head coach for this year, right? Like the Dolphins hired Mike McDaniel for 2022. No, they hired him to be their coach.
Right.
They're going to sign him to a contract. So the Houston Texans are my ding-dong of the week for somehow one-upping the Jags. Feels like it's been a contest, right? The Jags, they stick with Trent Baalke. They die on that hill, and they miss a slam dunk opportunity to hire Byron Leftwich. They end up with Doug Peterson. And the Texans said, no, we can do you one better. We're going to fire the guy that
hold
only
our
lasted
beer.
a year and then promote his associate head coach who hasn't had a winning record in the NFL in a very long time.
Kenneth follows you. He says Jack Easterby ding dong of the week.
Yeah, Jackie, it all boils down to Jack Easterby.
Could you imagine being a billionaire and being one of the 32 people walking the earth, one of the 32 fortunate billionaires, to have the keys to an NFL facility with your name on them, and you're Shad Khan or the McNair family.
Cal McNair, yeah.
Cal McNair now, not Bob anymore, but Cal. Bob is, I guess, at the big NFL team meeting in the sky. But Cal, could you imagine being so good at oil or technology or fiber structure, whatever it was, and being this bad at owning an NFL team and trusting some knucklehead and going down the toilet with this knucklehead, like in this case, Baalke or Easterby, that you are that good at what you do to be a billionaire and that easily built by a shyster who could just flush your franchise down the toilet. And you make so many other billions that you're like, we'll get it right soon enough. It's okay. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people live and die by what this team does. And they're just playing Monopoly like ding dong.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask Blaine about the players in Houston. like, is this something that almost further disconnects the players from the franchise they're playing for as far as a culture? And I understand they're going to play hard for them and their families at all times, but there's certainly got to be a disconnect down there, right? That maybe you don't see with the Titans, who seem pretty unified from top to bottom. That's a credit to John Robinson. But down there, with everything that's happened with David Coley, fired after a year, seemingly never had a shot, right? What did you expect of him in year one, inheriting that situation? He did pretty well, and he was fired, and you promote as associate head coach. Feels like there's designs here for the future that don't go towards winning. So I wonder how players kind of reflect on stuff like this.
Well, it depends on really, what motivates the player. What's their makeup, their mental makeup, why they play. Some play for money, some play for fame, some play for this is just what I wanted to always do, and I get an opportunity to do it. So there's always different tentacles of type of personalities and what motivates different players. Ultimately, you are paid to do a job, and you better do it efficiently. The disconnect is that most of the players don't have interaction with the ownership group or the owner. So you never have that interaction, and coaches make sure that you don't, by the way, because guess what? You could spill the beans about what's really going on. So they do a really good job of that. And most of the time, that's why I say the relationships in the locker room, after games, before games, having visibility by the ownership at practice really makes a difference going up to them. It's just like building any other relationships. These are the players that play for, and they want to feel like they're cared for and that you care about winning. And so right now, I think they feel like one person has a voice, and it's obvious that he is the issue. No different than in Jacksonville. They need to just redo everything. Am I mad about it being a Titans fan? No.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So but yeah, the players get disconnected, but their disconnect is, I don't want to play for this organization. I'm going to do everything I can to get out of here. So that could motivate play there too. But probably some of the things that Cunningham, who we got, is some of that is probably involved in that. Some who have the cachet to get out of there and force themselves out, and with them trading them. But ultimately, man, they have you by the cojones, to be honest. You have to do a job, and your job is to play well so you can go get a contract somewhere else. That's really what you're – but you can't – it's not like college where, you can kind of, work your way through it. It's just different in the pros. It's business. Sometimes you can just walk in there and don't even have to speak to anybody that's besides your other teammates. You can go in there and don't even talk to anybody and do your workout and do everything else and leave. I mean, what other jobs can you do that? Or a coach can walk right by you, which I don't think Cully and this crew, and I think that's why they played so hard for him, because he's a great human being.
Yeah. And for people who don't know,
appreciate that.
You play. He was on a staff. You played on a staff where he coached.
Staff. And he was energy. I mean, he had nothing to do with the defense, man. I knew who this guy was. I talked to him. I had conversations with him. So he's that kind of guy. He's a relationship type guy. So I think that's what kept the team together. And for them to play like that against the Titans that last game was pretty incredible. To me, that as much as he probably made a lot of mistakes, even in that game as a head coach making decisions, I would have kept him for one more year. First of all, you still haven't had this, this cloud over you with Watson on your organization. So that's going to take another year, obviously, in the court system, or if it gets settled or what have you. So I would have kept Cully one more year just to play it out and see if he could get better. Maybe he could have got better with decisions, maybe not. But one thing I do know, they like him and they were going to play for him. So I could get by with that in here. So I thought that was a mistake. And to me, that's a fireable offense right there by the GM. And then now you're going to try to do, the slap that let's give, let's say like token job to the Lovie Smith now. They weren't going to even interview him. Yeah. I mean, seriously, he was right there in front of their face. Why did it take this long?
He wasn't one of the three finalists, right? It was Josh McCown, who's never coached a down of football at any level other than high school.
No, the NFL put their foot down and said, and Goodell and crew said, you cannot hire a McCown from high school. He wasn't even a head coach. So, but that's the conversation. How does that look when you got all these other candidates out there? Not to say, remember, I'm against that. I think you should be able to hire who you want to, but you can't go hire a high school former NFL player, quarterback, as your head coach, and you got all these other candidates. That's absolutely horrible.
I know we got to take a break right here at the top of the hour. Steven's thing was the winner of the Pro Bowl determines AFC or NFC who is the home team in the Pro Bowl. Or in the Super Bowl. Yes, like baseball
This is
did
afterwards.
with
Right.
the All-Star game in the World
Oh, I
Series.
like that.
So that's why I said some of y'all might get mad when you hear that. He's even saying, yes, he said make NFL more like the All-Star game, AFC, NFC. The winner determines who's the home team for the Super Bowl. So anyway, people
Actually, the home team is the Bengals in this game, even though the Rams are playing in their stadium.
yes,
I heard Jalen Ramsey talking about this.
yeah. The Bengals tweeted out their uniform just hanging on a hanger.
Yeah, because I think
Their
Ramsey
uniform
likes
reveal was hanging on a hanger.
I think
in this age
the
of-
Rams like playing their home jerseys, I think, and I think maybe there's a superstition behind that. I'm not sure.
Well, we got a superstition about missing our break, so we can't do that. When we come back, we'll share. A bunch of people have suggested stuff. What would make you watch the Pro Bowl? That's out there, 615-737-1045.
It is 2:05. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Houston Texans have finalized a deal with Lovie Smith to be their next head coach, according to a report by Adam Schefter. Smith spent the 2021 season as the associate head coach and defensive coordinator under David Culley, who was fired in Houston after only one season, going 4-13. That leaves only one head coaching job open in the NFL. It is the New Orleans Saints, as the Miami Dolphins hire San Francisco offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel on Sunday. Tough news for Tennessee basketball this week after the Vols moved up to number 19 in the AP poll after sweeping Texas A&M and South Carolina throughout the week. Forward Olivier Cumwa will require ankle surgery for an injury suffered on Saturday and was likely to miss the remainder of the season. The Vols will move forward this week and likely the rest of the year without a key forward. Happy Super Bowl week. 104.5 The Zone is going on the road to Radio Row in L.A. thanks to Ferguson HVAC, Two Rivers Ford, and a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Tune in every day as the Buck Rising Show and 3HL will broadcast from Los Angeles starting on Wednesday. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Yeah, you just heard it from Lucas Panzica. Breaking news. The Texans have hired a dude who already worked there as the head coach. They interviewed all these people, and then they hired Lovie Smith, who I bet he had already cleaned his stuff out in a box because they let the Undertaker's brother go, and he's hired by the Titans now. So the head coach, David Culley, got fired how long ago? I mean, how long ago does the season end?
Why does it say Texans expected to hire Lovie Smith instead of saying Texans have hired?
The franchise, I guess, hasn't come out with the release.
Oh.
No official press release yet, but
Got you.
all the Ian Rappaports of the world know, they got a text from an agent saying, hey, man, they just hired Lovie. So Lovie literally finished. The head coach is gone. The offense the offensive guys are gone, obviously, because like we said, the Titans hired Tim Kelly, I'm combining people. Tim Kelly is, I think I saw the report from Chase McCabe. He had tweeted it was a pass game coordinator job for him, which we wondered, would it be something to do with the passing game? And there's certainly that report now that that's what it is.
Well, let's stop right there. Passing game coordinator. That sounds like a bigger title than what Schwartzy got.
Yeah.
Because I'm just
senior defensive advisor, whatever that was.
That could be like, you're doing, I'm going to call it grunt work, quality control type work and just kind of breaking down film. This sounds like he's going to have input on the passing game every week.
I think a lot of people hoping that he does.
That's what it seems as though. Now, sometimes you can get a title just so it can reflect your pay and you may not actually be doing those duties. But that wasn't the case when with Schwartzy. Even at practice, he was probably watching more than passing game coordinator means you're implemented in there and you're talking to players while you're practicing. This is a little bit different to me in that he seems like he's got a lot more say-so and involvement than Schwartz. That could be wrong,
right?
But just based off the title.
But offensive guys obviously were cut loose by the Texans, but Lovie Smith, maybe they just told him, hey, stick around, man. If we don't find anything we like, we'll just keep your box full, but don't take it out of your locker just yet. Don't empty out your office just yet. So he's been there all this time. Lovie Smith was on the staff last year, and now he is the head coach. So as Stoney said in the Zone TV chat, why do you even fire David Culley if you're just going to run it back with Lovie Smith?
Exactly. That's my whole point. I disagree with this. Yeah, this is
unbelievable.
Yeah, good for the Titans. That's a poop show here. Yeah, until they get their franchise quarterback, will they really have any say? So luckily for the Jaguars, they have Trevor Lawrence, so at least they have that going for him, and he'll have conversations. Urban Meyer probably still be there too. Yeah. So I know Lovey's a great guy and everything else, but this is just dumb. I feel like this came from up top, and when I say up top, I'm talking from the league.
Well, the no hire, don't hire.
This feels like a token hire. Like nobody was even considering him. He didn't even do any other interviews.
Right.
Even this own organization, the Texans weren't even interviewing him until recently.
The don't hire, if you're just joining us, Blaine said this as the last hour ended. You said this, and I agree with you 1,000%. The league called them and said, you're not hiring Josh McCown.
You can't do it.
You can't hire a high school coach who played a long time
Yeah.
in the league as a backup to be your head coach. Look
You
at what
can
we're
hire
dealing
him as
with.
a quarterback or offensive coordinator or something. Yeah, I don't even know if he called play. I've talked to people that I don't think he called plays at the high school he was at.
He was coaching his son's team.
Yeah. See?
That's the NFL saying, you're going to get added to this lawsuit if you hire him.
I'm sure the rest of the AFC South would have loved that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So this idea.
Not to say that he wasn't qualified and probably is a good leader. And
Sure, great guy.
But everybody assumes that it's because you play quarterback that you're going to be a good head coach.
Oh, man. We got Mike Herndon who's going to talk about this edition of not Dennis Kelly, but Tim Kelly here in just a minute with us.
Yeah,
but
we still got a lot of ding-dongs going on.
we got ding-dong
here.
stuff going on, and we also have people who want to talk about. We just threw this question out on the Blaine and Mickey Twitter. Is there anything that the Pro Bowl could do that would make you want to watch it? And people are weighing in on Twitter and the Zone TV chat, and people are calling in. Let's try to grab a couple of these phone calls on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Sylvia, is there anything that could make you want to watch the Pro Bowl?
I did watch the Pro Bowl.
Woo!
Oh.
See, I like that you are woman enough to admit it, because a lot of people say they didn't watch it, and they did.
Oh, I watched the first quarter, and then I did not.
So
I watched it to see what the Titans were doing, and then
okay.
it was fun.
Oh.
The players were having fun. They were smiling.
They
They were, whatever happened, they'd get up and they'd look at each other, and they just had a good time. It just made you feel good.
See,
That's
Sylvia,
for sure. They did.
and see, that's if I'm somebody in Twitter, Avancy said I haven't watched Pro Bowl since 2008. I'm like her. I don't have any expectations. I just watch it because it's football. They're having a good time. Okay. And I may or may not have gotten some information from a player who said the NFL's insurance maybe might make guys a little bit nervous about getting hurt in this game. There are some insurance implications.
But those same implications were there when I played.
Yeah,
That hasn't
guys
changed
just still
one
ran
iota.
into each other.
But I think what's happened is this safety, insurance, and more teams have been like, hey, if we get a player hurt, we're pissed. And then after the Robert Edwards deal on the sand, when he just really ruined his career pretty much, he tried to make a comeback, but didn't work out. So I don't, the insurance is always a part of the equation, but it doesn't really matter. To me, that's why I say you should go flag football. Make it fun and exciting. You'll still get the guys having fun and make it, really cool for the linemen, do some things over there. That's why I'm looking for suggestions. I did like suggestion. Who was that had have lingerie football at halftime? I like that idea. That was a great one. I'm a little perturbed that I didn't think of that myself.
Or make the players dress up and do lingerie football, and that just be the Pro Bowl.
Oh, my gosh. Derek says, I'll take fake football over no football every day of the year. Let's squeeze in one
that
more.
Sounds like a Mickey guy right there.
See, that's me. I listened to it on the radio while I was driving back from Arkansas. I listened to the Pro
That
Bowl
might have
on the
been
Zone.
better, though, to listen to it.
It was pretty exciting, although Tony Baselli wasn't having anything to do with any of it. Jeff in Hendersonville up next. What would you do with the Pro Bowl?
I totally agree with Blaine. 100% flag football. Basically, that's what we were seeing yesterday.
Yep.
It's just nobody was actually trying to stop anybody from scoring. I mean, in every other sense, it looked like I was watching a flag football game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So just put the flags on them, and let's see if we can see a lot of jump cuts by Tariq Hill and everybody else.
And they're competitive. They would play hard. It's not like they wouldn't play hard.
At least go 80, 85 for sure.
They'd probably play harder, right?
Yeah, I think so. I really do.
People say make it like the NBA, but like basketball is a sport where players can relax a bit, go 50, 60%, and it still be entertaining. And
It's still
threes and
basketball.
dunks and
It's still basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
But football, you can't. It doesn't work. The sport doesn't work that way. So, yeah, I agree. Make it flag football.
And baseball is the easiest one because you're just going to go out and play baseball.
Yeah.
The NBA All-Star Game is just a more exaggerated version of the NBA game, even less defense, and it's let's go both score 150 if we can. But, football is tough, man. It's tough. But the flag football idea, 7-on-7, skills competitions for the big guys, have Big Jeff out there. See how many punts he can catch off the jugs machine.
Ooh, I like that.
See? People be blown away by what Big Jeff
Well, you don't
can
have
do.
to be the jugs machine. Make it live. Let the punters
Oh,
actually
let the
make
punters punt to the big guys.
Yes, because that makes it live. You
Then
kind of
they
can
got
train
something to do.
yourself how
Brett
to
Kern.
catch it off the jugs machine to a certain extent. But kicking the ball live is different than off the jugs. No
Like
different than
split
catching.
Vita Vea out as like the X receiver. You know what I mean? Like just positionally trade everything out.
See, we've come up with 15 more things, us and the people listening and then in chat, than just a game where guys are they just don't tackle each other anymore. We're figuring it out. So you can continue to hit us with ideas on this. We do have Mike Herndon coming up next. What does he say that he is? He's with Broadway Sports. He's with several different entities, but I think he calls himself mostly retired now, but he still very much keeps up with the Titans. And what does he think about this Tim Kelly addition to the Titans offensive staff? We'll get into that and more with Mike Miracles is how he's known on Twitter. That's coming up next on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Beautiful Monday. Super Bowl week starts. Going to have Buck Rising and 3HL hanging in L.A., so you can listen up and have live coverage from the Super Bowl this week. You can have coverage of the Titans right here, right now with Mike Herndon at Mike Miracles on Twitter. I was reading your bio. I don't know what to call you. I know like semi-retired and several things, but how do we hype you up? Like what's the thing that you are now? How do we refer to you?
I guess I'm kind of an enigma now. I am a
You're dead air.
Yeah, we've just completely lost him.
Anticipation killed him.
That's fantastic. I am.
We can hear you. What'd you say?
We lost you.
Am I back now?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if Kyler Murray or Arizona Cardinals cut you off or what's going on. They unfollowed you or whatever, but yeah, we can hear you.
I am a mystery. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we'll just say Titans mystery man, Mike Herndon, joins us. So I know we were going to talk some about this Tim Kelly and his scheme and what's he to bring to the Titans and all this stuff. But the Texans are the gift that keeps on giving. They just named a guy head coach he was part of a staff that they fired, who they had just now gotten around to talking to. Lovie Smith looks like he's going to be the head coach of the Texans. How about that?
Yeah, it's amazing. The Texans and the Jaguars really are. I mean, the gift that keeps on giving, like you said. I mean, these coaching searches have been hilarious to follow all offseason. And yeah, I don't know, where Lovie Smith came from. It was just kind of out of left field. It felt like because I don't know that anyone looked at that search and said, okay, yeah, this is a good spot for Lovie Smith. I mean, give him credit for what he did. I mean, he's always been a good defensive coordinator and good defensive mind. But he's had really, if you count college, 3 head coaching stops, and none of them went particularly well. I guess the Bears had some success when he was there, but it's been a while for that.
Mike is getting us again with the anticipation. Mike, we're going to try Mike on a different phone line here. Maybe we can get him. He's slipped away from us.
But let's get to this Kyler Murray stuff and him unfollowing his Arizona Cardinals on Twitter. His Arizona Cardinals, right? Like he owns it. But man, is there a riff here? Because he played so horrific in the playoff game, and a lot of people were, hey man, he's available maybe for a cheap price.
Maybe he's saying, hey, Buccaneers, I'll just pick up that thing and run with it. Athletic reporting, among others, Kyler Murray has unfollowed the Cardinals on all social media, and all Cardinals-related content is gone from his Instagram.
Right.
The only recent content was a picture of him at the Pro Bowl and a story share of Mike Evans' post that said he always wanted to catch a pass from the Texas legend. So there you go. Maybe he's campaigning for the Bucs job.
Ooh.
Man, this is the world we're in now. Like, a guy deletes some stuff from his Instagram, and it's, hey, man, what's going on? What are we doing here? Kyler Murray.
Huh. Is that a upgrade over Tannehill or no? Now, if there was a possibility, we're just there's no speculation as far as him coming to Titans, but is he better than Tannehill?
Well, let's just ask Mike Herndon, who's back with us now. Apparently his phone has resurfaced. So, again, before we get into the Tim Kelly stuff, there's this.
You got to get rid of that burner phone, man.
Kyler Murray has basically gotten rid of every bit of Cardinals content from his social media and unfollowed them. Apparently he is ready to job shop. If somebody came to you today and said, hey, man, the Titans could make a deal for this guy, you want him or Tannehill, your GM, Mike Herndon, who joins us, Mike, you going to go Kyler Murray? You going to go Tannehill?
Oof, that is a really tough question. I mean, obviously the age thing, plays quite a bit into Murray's favor, and he's electric in certain situations, but I think you have to build an offense completely around him and his skill set, and I'm not sure if that's the vision that Mike Vrabel has for this offense, or whether the rest of the team really fits what Kyler Murray wants to do and what Kyler Murray needs to be in an NFL offense. I think it'd definitely be an odd fit, but you can't deny the talent is there. I guess for the Titans specifically, I would probably lean Tannehill, despite the fact that I think Murray's a more talented quarterback. So I don't know. That would be an extremely tough question. If I guess it would depend on what the offer was and everything else like that. But those two are pretty tightly bunched as far as where they are in the NFL pecking order, in my opinion, at least.
Man, the NFL is just a never-ending, churning news cycle, and we are discussing some of that right now with Mike Herndon, who joins us here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Mike, naturally, the Titans signed OC, I guess, / senior offensive assistant passing game coordinator or something to that effect. Seems like that's a little more clout than what Schwartzy got based off of title on defense. So what do you think? Will he have more say-so, at least in the passing game, every week, do you think, with that title, or is that just a title just to justify maybe the salary he's getting?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. My guess is that he will have a good bit of clout because, I mean, he's a guy that goes way back with Vrabel. Obviously, Tim Kelly, his whole career is basically Bill O'Brien. He was a Bill O'Brien guy at Penn State. And ended up coming into the NFL under Bill O'Brien and working all the way up until O'Brien was fired. And so he is a true Bill O'Brien guy, and Vrabel obviously coached with him for several years in Houston. So that relationship goes back further than Vrabel's relationship with Downing. And frankly, I think you could certainly argue that Tim Kelly has had more NFL success as a offensive coordinator than Todd Downing has. They both have really 2 years as the full-time play callers. Obviously, Kelly's was quite a mixed bag between 2020 and 2021, but he also had Davis Mills and Deshaun Watson is a pretty big gap in quarterback skill set to work with. So I think Kelly comes in with a pretty good resume as an offensive coach, in my opinion. I think he had a lot of success in Houston. Deshaun Watson absolutely loved him, and say what you will about Deshaun Watson and his off the field stuff, but as a quarterback and as a football player, he had tremendous success at the NFL level, and a lot of that he has attributed to Tim Kelly. And which is funny. What's funny about Kelly is he was a defensive lineman in college and a defensive line coach when he got to Penn State. And then he made his way to the offensive side of the ball. So he's not, kind of the most traditional of offensive coordinator backgrounds, but he's found a niche there and really had a lot of success. And I think coming in, he can only help the Titans. And look, Titans passing game's been their weak spot since Vrabel's been here, really, right? I mean, even under LaFleur, I think LaFleur, maybe the concepts were a little bit better, but Art Smith, they had a lot of success in the play action game, but the drop back passing game has been an element that's been missing for quite some time now. And if Tim Kelly can bring a little bit of that, which is really what they majored in Houston, especially with Deshaun Watson under center, that is something that could really help this Titans offense. And, obviously the Titans found a way to make it work between Bowen and Schwartz last year without, anybody getting their feelings hurt. And hopefully the same can happen between Tim Kelly and Todd Downing, because I think everyone can look at that offense last year and say that, Todd Downing probably needs a little help. And it never hurts to have another good football coach on that side of the ball.
Well, under the radar, we went with Mike Herndon, is that they hired another coach from the Texans, Bobby King. Can you tell us a little bit about him as the linebackers coach? So now that's like three or four? Three at least former Texans coaches on their staff.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans really are kind of loading up on the 2017 Texans coaching staff that Vrabel was a part of as defensive coordinator, of course. And King, was his inside linebackers coach and was the inside linebackers coach with the Texans. And obviously, Vrabel has a lot of comfort level with King from their experience working together, but I also think this probably tips their hand just a little bit about what they see Zach Cunningham as. Because when they claimed Cunningham off of waivers, most people saw it as, well, his contract is not guaranteed next year. They could move on from him financially with really no harm done by picking him up. But the question was whether, they might look at him as a long-term piece here, and them bringing in King, who obviously is very familiar with Cunningham and was his position coach for many years, is kind of an indication to me that, they want Cunningham and David Long to be the guy or the duo in the middle of that defense in 2022, and they should. Cunningham was great after coming over here, and so I think this addition only gives them more comfortability and probably more streamlined communication all the way from Vrabel to the players in that room. So I think that's kind of what this is, and ultimately, I know people kind of get on Vrabel sometimes about, he just wants to hire former, Texans coaches. Well, that may be true, but it's also the ability to teach players is something that Vrabel always harps on. And if these guys weren't good teachers of the game, I don't think they'd be here. And Vrabel, that is his kind of key element, I feel like, that he looks for in coaches. And the majority of his coaching staff has done tremendous work under him during the time that they've been here. And you've seen guys go on to get head coaching jobs and things like that. So I think Vrabel has earned the benefit of the doubt when it comes to staff hires over the last few years, and I certainly think he's due that benefit here with Bobby King and Tim Kelly.
Now that you said that, is Schwartzy coming back? I know he's interviewed for some other jobs. Was that actually a Vrabel deal too as well?
I'm not sure. I would imagine he had to have at least signed off on it. But the interesting thing, I guess, was that, none of the current Titans really had any sort of substantial connection to Schwartz. Obviously Schwartz had the connection to the franchise as a whole, but John Robinson, Vrabel, none of those guys had any direct connection there. Schwartz coming back, again, that has to be, labeled a pretty unqualified success at this point, regardless of how much credit you actually want to give him versus Bowen and some of the other coaches on that side of the ball. But Schwartz clearly didn't hurt things. We know that for sure, as the defense got a lot better after him arriving in Nashville, which, defenses tend to do when Schwartz shows up. So, it's kind of interesting. The way Vrabel is building out this staff now almost feels to me kind of like the way Nick Saban does at Alabama, where he just gets a bunch of coaches, former coaches that were high up or have a high experience level, and brings them in as analysts and things like that. And that's kind of been a trend at the college level recently. I know, Texas has started doing that with, Gary Patterson going to them this year, and there's rumors that David Cutcliffe is also going to be headed that way as well. But building a coaching staff and having multiple guys that can, when you do lose a coordinator in a couple years, if, this is a bad example right now, but Downing, say he has a couple of monster years and he goes and gets a job as a head coach somewhere, having a Tim Kelly that could step right in and you don't have to go search the outside, I think is valuable to the Titans as well, because, Vrabel is more of a CEO type coach, and he's always going to be prone to losing coordinators to some degree. So I think building that deep bench of talented coaches is definitely a good thing.
Well, with Mike Herndon, you're right here on the Blaine and Mickey Show.
So let's say you get to 26, or maybe they trade back. I actually found a trade from 2 years ago where the Patriots got a second and a third for like pick number 23. I could certainly see John Robinson trying to do something like that. Whether it's at 26, Mike, or they jump, early in the second round and, Desmond Ritter's there, Carson Strong, or somebody they really like. Is it time to pull the trigger on that guy if it's their guy?
I think if they have a quarterback that they really like, and I mean, I definitely don't think they should take one just to take one, right? That almost never works out. But if they've got a guy that they're sold on, that they think, all right, this guy can be the next guy here and take us to the next level offensively, I think it is time to start looking, because this is going to be the last year of Ryan Tannehill's guaranteed money in his contract. Now, he still will have cap charges that are left over from bonuses and things like that, but at this point, that's all sunk cost, right? Yeah. So the guaranteed salary, this is his last year. So I think that's kind of how you have to look at it is, do you have a guy that you love? And if so, do you want to bring him in and kind of give him the Mahomes treatment where he can sit for a year and then take over in 23? And I think that's probably the ideal scenario if you have a quarterback that you love. If you don't, I don't think you can force the issue there. You'd rather, I'd rather see them trade all of their picks in the draft to go up into the top 10 to get a guy if they love a quarterback, rather than sit there and just take whoever's left over from the scrap heap at 26 or whatever. I think go get your guy that you love and don't wait around to do it if there is a quarterback in this draft that you fall in love with as a staff. But yeah, it all depends on kind of what their evaluation is there for that position, because that's one of those spots where you just can't swing and miss. You got to go get your guy when he's available.
Do you love any of these guys?
I don't love any of them. No, the two that intrigue me the most, I guess, are Pickett, who I think is probably still going to go in the top 10, and Malik Willis. I think Willis, to me, has the highest upside, and I think if the last few drafts have taught us anything about quarterbacks, is that maybe you should just swing for the guy with the highest upside if you're going to go and take a big swing at quarterback, because we've seen the upside guys like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and guys. Patrick Mahomes was an upside guy, right?
Yeah.
All of those guys, are kind of the current model that I think most teams are probably following. And to me, out of all the guys in this draft class, Malik Willis fits that upside model the best. So that would be the guy that would kind of catch my eye out of this class.
Based off the roster that currently exists, and assuming the guys who are free agents, you can put this into the equation. Where do you see the holes in this roster that will be coming up next year? What position groups do you think they need to address? Whether it's free agency or draft, what position groups do you think they need to fill?
Yeah, I think tight end is a huge glaring hole. They didn't get out of that group what I think they thought they might this year, and they didn't spend a whole lot of money or capital or draft picks or anything there. But I think they thought they'd get more out of Furtzer and Swaim and that crew than they really did. So I think that's a kind of glaring hole on the roster. And then the next spots, offensive line to me is still, it's not that you have one glaring hole necessarily. Right tackle could be Dylan Radin's spot this year, you would hope. But they're just older. Ben Jones is a free agent. They need to figure out what they're going to do with him. Roger Saffold is getting pretty up there in age. So is Taylor Lewan. Both of their contracts are getting out of the guaranteed money portion as well. So those are guys that they could move on from if they choose to. So I think offensive line is a spot you need to invest in pretty heavily this offseason, whether it's through the draft or free agency with younger guys to kind of bring in that next generation of Titans offensive line behind. Even if you do keep Lewan and Saffold, you've got to get the next guys in place before you end up having to start, like 4 rookies on the offensive line, which almost always is a recipe for disaster. So I'd say tight end, offensive line. They could use some more receivers. Obviously, we saw when Julio and AJ went down, they just didn't have a whole lot of dynamic threats there. You'd like to have somebody who can, take the role of one of those guys when they do go down. Because at this point, you got to figure those guys are going to miss a little bit of time. That's been the case for the last couple of years, and you'd imagine, especially with Julio, it'll continue to be the case moving forward. So, yeah, wide receiver. I think offense, just generally.
Yeah, I see. It's all offense.
On offense, yeah. And depending on what they do with Landry, edge could still be a concern. But if they bring back Landry, I'm pretty happy with the defense overall and where that is roster-wise.
Mike, thank you, man. Fantastic stuff, and we'll do it again soon. At Mike Miracles on Twitter. You can follow Mike Herndon there. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right, when we come back, we'll hit the phones. I never got to give my ding-dong, and I'll do that next. It's 47 years old. Blaine and Mickey.
That's how old you are.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Congratulations to Shane Foster. He got his jersey retired by Vanderbilt. That was my call shot on Friday, was they were going to beat LSU because you don't lose on the night that you retire 32. No way.
Ooh,
He's
that's a
coming up
great
on
call.
3HL today at 4 o'clock. Shane
They
Foster.
routed LSU.
Yeah.
Man, they did, man. That's a talented team they beat, man. That was a good one there. That's a good shot you called there, man. I don't even remember what's my shot.
Big Jeff is defensive MVP of the building.
Oh man, that 7-on-7 crap. He did have a PBU though. He got a pass breakup.
Byard had a pick.
Roger Saffold had more tackles than Big Jeff.
Oh,
You look at the box score, Saffold's got a tackle.
Oh,
Must have come after a turnover.
He touched one of the guys after he caught
Yes,
it.
it was a touch, yeah.
that's more to say that they should be doing flag.
My ding dong is this. Somebody sent
So
this
you've
to
been
me.
waiting 47 years.
Somebody, 47-year-old ding dong. Somebody sent this to me. If I could remember on Twitter, but it was so far back. It was like 5 days ago that he sent it to me, and he said for ding dong of the week in 1975 when Seattle announced we're getting an expansion football team, give us names, and they had like how many 1,000 names that got submitted, and one person submitted the name Ding Dongs for Seattle. They also got Bigfoots, Chowderheads, and Sperm Whales. So ding dongs for all those people, especially the sperm whale guy.
Sperm whales.
But in 1975, somebody suggested ding dongs as the name for what would become the Seahawks. That got like 140-something suggestions. It was the most suggested one, Seahawks. But one person mailed in ding dongs.
The Seattle Ding Dong.
The Seattle ding dongs. How about the Seattle sperm whales?
Oh,
Could you imagine the merch?
Did you say Sasquatches was one?
No, Bigfoots.
Bigfoots. Oh.
Bigfoots.
Not
The
big.
Seattle Sasquatches. That sounds.
See,
Yeah, I
that's
like
nice.
Yeah.
Kraken.
Yeah,
you know?
Kraken's nice. Yeah, the Supersonics.
Supersonics. Oh, bring back the Supersonics. That
Got
was-
to
that was a
do it.
Sweet colors, that green and yellow and white. Ooh, Jack Sigma and Marvin Webster, the Human Eraser, and downtown Fred Brown. And
I don't remember all those people.
I do.
Yeah,
Dennis Johnson.
Wasn't Ellis on that team too? No,
Maybe late in his career.
later
yeah.
in his career.
I'm talking about the 79
Oh yeah, I didn't watch.
team. 79.
So Dennis Johnson was on that team. Huh?
He was. Yep, they won the NBA championship. James in Smyrna, he never won an NBA championship, but he does. We have this question out there: what would make the Pro Bowl anything that you would want to watch? And people are weighing in, and maybe that's the route that James want to go. What's going on, James?
Right. Mickey, Blaine, enjoy your show.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I think
you.
we really need to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with having the flag concept. That faux tackling is just not getting it.
Faux tackling.
Right. Have 12 players on the field, both sides on fourth down. Have 3 players go in motion on the offense.
Oh, kind of like arena.
Extra points for long passes and runs, like 9 points for a pass over 50 yards instead of 6.
Okay.
Long field goals over 50 or 60 yards, 4 or 5 points
For the
instead of
kickers.
3.
Mm-hmm.
And longer extra points, kicks 2 points if they're farther than where they are now. And the scrimmage plays, the conversion, make that 4 points and make it a little bit longer than where it is now in the regular season.
See, James, here's what I like
Yeah,
about
I
what
like
you're
all
saying.
of that.
Literally all of it, because you've done more thinking about this than apparently anybody in the league office.
Well, they don't have
Thank
to do
you,
anything.
James.
They're not doing anything because their numbers said everybody's watching.
Right,
So
we're
they
just
go,
gonna
we'll
play
just
this.
keep doing it.
Run it back.
Yeah. Till they tell us that they're not. So, Mickey, stop watching.
I listened on the radio. I drove around this city and listened to the Pro Bowl on the radio.
Change the format, man.
And I told you, Tony Baselli, that wasn't even a tackle. The guy just stopped. They just touched it. Tony Baselli was just so mad. He was just sick about watching it. God bless you.
Yeah, I turned and watched Dune.
Dune?
Yeah, and it
Hey, it was a NASCAR race at the L.A. Coliseum. I watched some of that. That was good.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of everything
Yeah,
when I
watched
got
a little
home.
figure skating too, man.
I watched that too.
Yeah, man.
I love the Olympics.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I do too, because I was seeing the people with the thick thighs.
We got to get our thighs out of here and onto our car seats. On that note, 3HL's coming up next. They got Shane Foster coming up. You will want to hear that and a whole bunch more stuff.
And in the meantime, in between time.
And in between thigh workouts.
Yeah. Peace.